Hello. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I have a really beautiful channeled message I'm going to be sharing with you once I go through some of the details of this message, landing in the cosmic jet stream. It is actually a message, part of the message I received early in the summer, shortly after my ayahuasca journey. But I guess I wasn't ready to share it, and I now understand why, because now is the time to share it as I got more of the message this morning. So let me just say hello to Triple X, Suiterbug, Stephanie, Dynamite. How are you? How's everyone doing? So, we're 8 months into 2022, which means we only have 4 more to go. And the final push of 2022 is going to be a very intense, energetic experience for many of us. There's a lot happening in the skies, in the stars, that is going to intensify as soon as we hit October, and actually before October, because we have our big Uranus-Saturn square. It's happening at 1 degree of a square, and the Saturn-Uranus square happened 3 times last year, and it was a very challenging year. This one is finally making its closest point at the beginning of October, from the 1st to the 10th. And then going into the later part of October, we will have our solar eclipse in Scorpio, which is really cool because it's conjunct Venus, which is very interesting, however, square Pluto. And then we also have our lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is just the amount of things going on that eclipse. And I will say that eclipse is literally happening on my natal sun. So I'm just like, oh my. And that one's really big. So I have been getting a lot of messages around the importance of being very vigilant for the last part of this year in everything that you're doing, all of the things that you're being called to do, all the things that you're you can't avoid, but maybe you still are. This is not the time to avoid it. So before we go any further, I want to let you guys know I am offering a new service. The description, I'll get into that later into the video, but if you're wanting to book, I've left a link in the description below. And if you need to, it's on my website under services. And it's called Astrological and Intuitive Soul Alignment versus Karmic Clearing. It's a 75-minute session. I need 75 minutes to go through everything with you, but it's basically going to be a blend of astrology, chart reading, and intuitive messages regarding the final push of 2022 and as you head into 2023. So we're at the end of August, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it felt like one big fat Mercury retrograde. Like, we're not in Mercury retrograde yet. Mercury is in its shadow. And we are going to have that Mercury retrograde starting on the 9th of September. But there's there has been some very interesting energy happening all of August, ever since the Lion's Gate started. And it has been an onslaught of energies. I mean, everyone I talk to, including myself, has been experiencing Mercury retrograde energies, technology issues, communication breakdowns and issues, things being delayed, the past coming back into the present, past people, past exes. It's just been one big Mercury retrograde experience. And what I got around this particular, because I was kind of tuning in, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why is this happening? And I received this message that the past is not complete or finished with you yet. You cannot avoid what must be faced, and it has to do with the past. So as you know, Lion's Gate often is always about the things that you cannot avoid, the things that are giving you the courage to face, right? That lion's energy. And so oftentimes during the Lion's Gate, things pop up that we need to face that we may have avoided in the past. So it's interesting because we're getting a blend of this into like a Mercury retrograde energy because of all of this kind of past energy flooding into the present. I got the message that the real Mercury retrograde happening in 10 days will be the big push. And this is all helping you to land in the cosmic jet stream. Okay, so before I go further into the jet stream, Mercury retrograde is going to have the theme of relationships, one-to-one connections, partnerships, in a sense of needing to compromise, needing to bring balance and harmony together. Could be around business relationships. Because it is starting in Libra, it will retrograde back into Virgo, but it's starting here in Libra. And so there is this theme, and considering how much we've been experiencing a lot of that, it feels very much like finding balance, learning how to connect, or improving connections, perhaps unfinished business between connections from your past coming in, but all for an important reason, all around something that you cannot avoid. It's part of something you're working on, and it's going to tie up loose ends. And September is going to be a really good month for that. There's a lot of opportunities to tie up loose ends. But when I kind of tapped in, I got this message around the cosmic jet stream. When we think about what a jet stream actually is, right? It's a narrow band of air that is very fast moving, and it goes in a certain flow of up and down, considering what are the hot and cold kind of airs pressing down on it. And sometimes it'll pull more cold air in, or sometimes it'll pull more warmer air. And what I got this message a few months ago that there's going to be an opportunity here for many of us to land in what's they're terming, when I say they're, just my guides, my higher self, the cosmic jet stream. And they're saying that this is a big energy wave to ride this fall. It will support your willingness to face fear, accept the challenge, do the things you haven't had the courage yet to do. It will amplify leaps into future timelines. Spinning energies are helping to integrate faster than ever before. You will be assisted by the cosmic jet stream. Birth confidence in the chaos. So there's a lot of chaos happening right now on our planet. And when you are able to access this kind of state of consciousness, this state of being, this belief in yourself to push forward, the courage to do the things you've been kind of putting off or fear that you're not ready for, they're saying that, you, by birthing confidence in the chaos, you become an anchor point in everything. So said support is available for those ready to take a risk on the whispers of their soul. The big push is coming in October and November. Okay, and before I go into the channeled message, the final channeled message here, I want to say that this is why I've been guided to put together the service. I kind of tuned into my higher self and my guides on putting the service together for you guys to kind of, for those of you who are really ready to kind of take that leap of faith, take a risk on yourself, take a risk on the whispers of your soul that have been speaking to you softly, or perhaps maybe rather loudly lately, on what it is that you really need to focus on and what you really need to do. And so when we think about like the fact that we've got eclipse season coming up, eclipses always focus on the karma that we have to release and the future alignments that our soul is guiding us towards. And so I'm kind of looking at everything and I'm like, okay, what I can do is I want to take a look at how the Uranus Saturn square in the beginning of October, which we're already feeling it. It's only going to intensify up until the beginning of October. how that final square, which is a very, very challenging square. You've got Saturn, which is, the ruler of responsibility. It brings in deep wisdom, but it comes through doing the job that has to get done. You cannot cut corners. It is also about leadership. It's about kind of removing some, in many ways, the joy and the fun of things. Like, you just have to get down to business. You have to get to work and get things done. And then you have Uranus, which is all about the future and new possibilities, radical changes, sudden changes, unexpected changes, and really kind of, asking you to think about what it is that your future self is wanting you to do today. And so with this kind of challenging aspect, there's a part of us that just really wants to kind of leap into the future, but there's certain things that have to be done before that can happen. And then I really want to take a look at the eclipses, because they're very potent eclipses coming in, especially the Taurus lunar eclipse. And I'm also wanting to look at Mars being in Gemini. We're going to have Mars is now in Gemini, and it will be there for the next 7 months or so. It won't leave until the end of March. And so it's going to be hitting its retrograde later on. I think it's in October, late October, it takes its retrograde. And so this is playing, I'm going to look at where Gemini is in your astrology chart and look at how Mars is affecting all of this. The great thing about Mars being in Gemini is it will actually power up Saturn. So we'll kind of take a look and see what it's motivating and inspiring you to do, or giving you the energy to do. And again, those who take risks on themselves are, basically risk on yourself to transform, right? To really transform right now is really important. And so what I'm going to focus on in this session is what you should be focusing on as you go into 2023, what needs initiating, what needs completion before the end of the year, what karma are you needing to clear right now, what soul alignments or purpose is coming into greater view for you, and what are you unable to avoid at this time. So those are the things that I'm going to cover in the session. If you guys are interested, if you're feeling really pulled and there's something you need to do, maybe you just don't have the right guidance around it, or you're missing a few pieces of the puzzle, this is what I want to help you figure that out. Okay, so let me read the message here. So again, I will reiterate, this is the message that's come in around how to land in the cosmic jet stream, or why you would want to. Again, support is available for those ready to take a risk on the whispers of their soul. The big push is coming in October, November. The more you align with your original soul blueprint, the more you stimulate the catalyst for others to consider aligning with their original blueprint. Be the active change in motion, a cosmic catalyst on Earth for others to embrace in the throes of uncertainty crashing upon the collective consciousness at this time. While the world is contracting, be expansive. Go beyond the boundaries you have never let yourself explore. Consider opportunities you may have never considered before. You are in new territory for your time. For those of you ready to take a leap of faith, you will leap into a fast and forward-moving energy stream of assistance in manifestation. Be pure in your intentions, and you will be steered directly into the home of your soul and the desires awaiting you. So I really love this message. It's really encouraging, and it's actually really exciting. I find it extremely exciting. And it is difficult when we're heading into times where there's a lot of challenges. There's going to be, when we think about where Uranus is in Taurus, Taurus represents our finances, our resources, agriculture. Uranus is all about, sudden changes and unexpected things. Like Uranus kind of has a lot of tower energy to it. So then you have Saturn, in Uranus, and Saturn in Uranus, Saturn in Aquarius. And this is also about manufacturing, and there's just so much happening here in the world that could be, when we think about Aquarius, it's about the groups of the collective, like for the betterment of humanity. But with Saturn being there, it just feels like things are going to be used against humanity in a way that brings in a little bit more suffering. However, there's so many channels and news stations you can tune into that will talk about all the doom and the gloom, and I don't really want to focus on that. It doesn't mean that we put our heads in the sand and we pretend we're all rainbows and butterflies and all of that, but within every cataclysm or within every foundation that is crumbling, there is always a deep opportunity to build something new. And you get a choice to be the one who's focusing on the destruction or the one who's focusing on the rebuild. And I personally want to be focused on the rebuild. And I want to look for the opportunities that are always present in every problem. There's always an opportunity in every problem. It doesn't mean that you're there to like capitalize on other people's pain. That's not what I'm talking about. That, you know, in the pain, there's always an opportunity for growth. And so while everyone is kind of going into a contractual energy, this is the time to really expand. Of course, you don't want to be expanding irresponsibly. You want to be expanding through a connection that feels very divinely aligned with who you are and what your future goals are. So I just want to know how you guys are doing. How's everyone? Do you guys have any questions for me, since I haven't done a live where I can actually take questions for? Kiss the sky. Wow, just what I prayed for. Hi, JGO7. Rebuild. Yes, Stephanie. Rebuild. Yeah, you know, thank you, Star Delta 9. We're really, you know, all the major outer planets are in retrograde right now. And when Mercury goes in retrograde, it's going to be one of the personal planets. And of course, when Mercury comes out of its shadow, Mars is getting ready to go retrograde. There's just a lot of energy going back in time to re-look at the things that perhaps we forgot about or perhaps need reviewing, need more attention. It's a really good time to take care of business that perhaps you didn't have the time to take care of while everything was moving so fast in motion forward. It doesn't feel like this Mercury retrograde is going to be painful. It feels more like a really good opportunity to get all your ducks in a row, to get really clean and tight on what it is that you're going to be moving forward with in the final 3 months, so October, November, December, when Mercury comes out of retrograde at the beginning of October. So it's very interesting, and there is something that we cannot avoid. There is something that we've all been avoiding on some level that keeps calling to us, and perhaps we have been putting some attention to it, but now it might be time to go even deeper, to really get serious, to apply ourselves in all the ways that we need to apply ourselves. So this is just, it can be very challenging. There will be obstacles, but it's also a great time to make quantum leaps forward in your journey. And it's almost like when I go back to that bottleneck message that I got, because I just showed this to me right now, it's almost like the bottle is kind of separating, like it's going to have a parallel bottle next to it. And the bottleneck is actually widening for those who are ready to go into this cosmic jet stream and be assisted at great length in whatever it is that you're really feeling called is time for you to be focusing on. How interesting. So there's like a separation happening. there's almost like a timeline separation happening now. And so this is why the message is coming through at this time. People have been given the opportunities to be prepared. Some of you have been sticking your head in the sand and not applying yourself as you've been called to do. You still have time to do so and should do so accordingly. Those of you who have already been applying yourselves are well on your way and won't take much effort to jump into this jet stream. Okay. So there's like a timeline kind of separation, or yeah. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. How are you guys feeling about everything? Have you guys been noticing any of this energy? Like, I have had some crazy tech issues. Like, I don't know what's going on. I will be sending texts to people. We'll be in a conversation, texting back and forth, and then someone asks me a question, I answer it back, and then they'll like write a response, maybe 15 minutes later, like, if you are uncertain, or like, like basically as if I never replied. And I'm like, did you not get my last reply? I said yes to it, and I have to screenshot it and send them, and they're not getting my messages. And this is happening a lot. Like, this isn't just a one-off. It's happening frequently. And then also on the new moon in Virgo, I went to call my girlfriend, and I pressed the call button through our text chat, and someone else answered the phone, and I didn't realize it at first. And then the person just said, "Who is this? Which Nicole?" And I'm like, stop trying to prank me, like, very funny. And then all of a sudden I realized, this doesn't sound like my friend. And so then I had to hang up. So I go back into my chat and I text her, "Hey, are you trying to pull a prank on me? Was that you?" And the person writes back, "I have a lot of Nicoles in my phone. Which Nicole are you?" And I'm like, oh, this is just weird. This is freaking me out. So literally, I was just across the street from her. So I walk over into her home and I said, "Hey," and she goes, "Oh my God, I was just going to call you, wondering where you were." And I said, "Didn't you just talk to me on the phone?" And she said, "You didn't call me." And I said, "Yes, I did. And you just text me back this." And I had to show her. And she's like, "You didn't call me and you didn't text me." And I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird. This has been happening. This stuff has been happening all the time. I'm like, I don't understand. It's like the biggest Mercury retrograde mind fuck that I've ever been through. Like, it's super crazy. So, Dusty, that literally happened to you today. Our internet keeps going off and then on. Our phone wasn't working for a few days. Yes. And I've also noticed, have you guys not noticed that your cell coverage is really slow? Like, and it shouldn't be, like, in areas where you are usually. And then I've had a few days where, like last week, my cell coverage, like, I couldn't get on the internet, or like it was just taking forever. And I'm like, what is going on? Text messages keep getting turned off on iMessage. But you've had a lot of inspiration coming through. Very cool. Very cool. Suiterbug, the future has been in a weird flux, but you think you're figuring it out. Good. Good. Awesome. Anyone else having electrical issues with their cars? Mine seems fine now, but for a couple of weeks, both my car and a couple of my friends' cars were having some electrical issues. Yeah, I have, but nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing out of the ordinary. Zeph, is anyone else kind of low-key worried about being left behind? I mean, sometimes I feel like I myself am lagging. So this is a really common feeling. And I want to say that feeling is originating from the part of you that is trying to get your awareness that you have to start doing something that you're not putting all your energy into. You would never be left behind unless you chose to be. I want you to really remember that. Everything is a choice. No one's going to purposely leave you behind. And there really isn't a sense of being left behind. It's just a matter of how far forward do you want to move? And perhaps there are people that you're kind of used to being around that are actually moving, taking the choice to move forward, and you have not yet moved through some of the fears that you're needing to move through. And so when these messages and these feelings come up, they're reminders that it's time to start pushing yourself more in the areas that you have been avoiding or have been putting off, or maybe kind of putting your head in the sand around. If you're doing the work though, and you're still getting that feeling, know that you will never be left alone so long, like you will never be left behind when you are always taking a step forward. Okay? You're not doing it wrong. Hot Topic sucks. Entities sit in things that are of light. Electric elements are light. Steve Bates, Saint Germain pranking us. Narda, the battery is out of the car for 2 weeks now. You have to get to it. Oh wow. Yeah, so there's just some weird stuff happening. Expect stuff to get weirder. It's going to get weirder. We're in some really interesting times. This energy, I've never seen it before. It's a little unfamiliar to me in a sense of what we've experienced through what we've gone through. This last month of August has been very unique. And I just get that Mercury's only going to kick that up even further when it goes retrograde. So it's going to be a final push. All right. So, I'm gonna leave it there. I think that's all I really have to share with you guys, unless you have any questions you want to ask me. Again, if you're interested in booking that service, it is pinned in the chat here, or it's in the description below this video. Let it be fun. Yes. Stephanie, you love that. If you are moving forward at all, you won't be left behind. Nuh-uh, you will not. You will not. You will always be rewarded for moving forward. But also remember, it's okay if you need to look back or revisit something from the past in order to move forward. So don't forget that. So it's not that you pretend your past isn't there, but sometimes we need to revisit the past in order to tie something up, to clear something out so that we can fully move forward. So that's important. And that's going to be really a lot of what this Mercury retrograde is going to be bringing up, a lot of stuff from the past. A lot of stuff from the past we're going to be visiting over the month of September. You're welcome, Zeph. My pleasure, sweetie. So again, if you guys are interested in joining Alchemy, we're going to be doing our live call on the 11th of September. Very auspicious day on the Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, for you guys in Alchemy, I'll be getting your meditation ready. I've already got the music picked out. I hope you love it. Guys, again, if you're not already, please follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And if you haven't joined my Telegram channel, it's a new one because my other one got completely overtaken by some fake tag. I don't know what it is. And so the new Telegram channel is below. Guys, have a wonderful evening. And again, let me know in the comments if you're watching this later on, like how you've been doing, what's been kind of coming up for you. And also let me know how the channeled message resonated with you, if it inspired you, if it, whatever, maybe you got your own downloads while listening to it. I'd be curious to know. All right, guys, have a wonderful evening.